This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Thank you, everybody, for coming in. I appreciate it. Thank you for the Kiddush Hashem. Every single person that shows up to Shiur Torah, especially in the middle of the winter, when life gets even busier, heavy at work every single day. So it's tiring after work. So you decide to come to Shiur Torah. Doesn't matter what I say. The point is, you came to Shiur Torah. That itself is a huge mitzvah. This reminds me of a story. It reminds me to get back to what I prepared. With Chacham Ovadia Yosef, the great Maran Chacham Ovadia Yosef, Zeh Chasiv Gadosh Avacha. When he was younger, at around 18 years old, he started giving classes almost every single night, Shiurei Torah. And he worked very hard, because at that age, your youth years when you're in yeshiva, you sit and you learn day and night, day in, day and night. And Chacham Ovadia did that. So to close his Gemara, Toda Rabba. Thank you. So to close his Gemara, to close his learning, to go give a class every single night was not an easy task. He was only 18 years old. He worked hard and he did it. But many times, when people will walk in and see who Chacham Ovadia, this little Ovadia, who is he talking to, you would see the working men, the plumbers, the painters, the mechanics, working very hard. You would see them that they're all on the tables like this, with their heads down, falling asleep, yoshnim. So they would tell Ovadia, they would tell Chacham Ovadia, what are you spending your time for? You're closing your Gemara. You're going to teach them Torah. And it's not like it happens once in a while, and then the rest of the week they listen. They sleep, and they put their heads down, and one guy pops up and asks a question as if he knows what he's talking about, and he keeps on going. And they do this every single night. They told Chacham Ovadia, why are you wasting your time? And he told them at the age of 18, he told them, my goal is le'arim et hakavod shel Torah. My goal is to hire the honor of the Torah in the world. The fact that the men come to shul at night after such a hard day of work, that itself is a tremendous Kiddush Hashem. That already brings honor to the Torah. And I want the children growing up in such houses to ask their mommies, their ima, their mothers, where's Abba? Where's Abba? And the mothers would tell them, Abba, father, he went to a class, he went to Shiur Torah. And the kids are growing up knowing that their father goes to listen to Divrei Torah. That's a whole different house. Says Chacham Ovadia, that's my goal. When Chacham Ovadia himself was already much older, the Gdol Adol, already in his 80s, he would say that one of the greatest nachat, one of the greatest pleasure that he has, is when the people that used to come to his classes when they were 18 years old, their grandchildren, their nechadim, come to the Rabbi Chacham Ovadia Yosef to get a askama, to get a, how do you say askama in English? But the Sfarim, the what? Approbation. Approbation. Is that a crime or something? Let's askama, to get like I agree with your book. I went through your sefer and I'm maskim itcha, you're Tamid Chacham. Probation. Agreement. It's easy. Probation is a big word for me. Agreement. So they would come to him, and Chacham Ovadia would say the greatest nachat that he has is the time that he invested teaching these men Torah, and they will fall asleep. Their grandchildren became Tamidei Chachamim, and now they come into the Rabbi Chacham Ovadia after they wrote Sfarim, books in Halakha and Musar, and they want to get askama from him. And he said, all the time that I spent was all worth it, because I knew that I'm teaching them quality of Torah. I knew that I'm teaching them to honor Torah. And look at that, their grandchildren became Tamidei Chachamim. From that story, I learned a tremendous lesson. People who show up to classes when it's hard, people who show up to Divrei Torah, now you can all fall asleep. People who show up, it's a tremendous Kiddush Hashem, and it brings a tremendous barakah to the world. I just heard recently, if you want to get a lot of chizuk, I get a lot of chizuk from this rabbi in Israel. His name is Rabbi Chaim Zaid Shlita. Beautiful darshan in Eretz Yisrael. He speaks so beautiful, so much emunah, so many stories. I talked to him a few times a week already. I just spoke to him again today to verify 2 stories that he said that just happened in Eretz Yisrael after the war. Such beautiful stories. But he just quoted to me, and he said I should quote what David Abuchatzera, the big mikubal in Eretz Yisrael. Rabbi David Abuchatzera, who has tremendous Kiddushah, is a very, very holy man. Shmirat Ha'anam, the Abuchatzera family is full of Torah and Yirat Shamayim. He told them that what Hashem taught us after the October 7th massacre, the horrible milchama that we're going through right now, the horrible war of Simchat Torah, what Hashem taught us is Bet Sefer le'emunah. Hashem is putting us through a school, teaching us emunah, to really believe in Hashem. And He told them what happened on October 7th was me'al derech hateva. How those Yimach Shemams were able to get in like that is still a big question mark. It's unbelievable. It was me'al derech hateva. And David Abuchatzer told them to say over publicly that if it happened me'al derech hateva, the massacre that happened on October 7th, then the message that Hashem wants from us, the Jewish nation, after such a massacre, is to work harder. Me'al derech hateva leman HaKadosh Baruch Hu. What does me'al derech hateva mean? It means it was out of nature. It was not a normal thing, the way that Hamas Yimach was able to get in like that. So Hashem is also asking from us, me'al derech hateva, work harder, go out of your comfort zone, go out of your regular schedule life, go out of regular routine, and work harder and do more for HaKadosh Baruch Hu, for Torah and mitzvot. And Rabotai, we learn it from this week's parasha. In this week's parasha, Moshe Rabbeinu, our great leader, this is something tremendous, and every time I learn it, I can pull my hair out. Moshe Rabbeinu literally grew up in a palace with Paro. Moshe Rabbeinu had everything he needed. He was in the palace with the king of Egypt. You know what it means to be king of Egypt? He was a super empire of the world at the time. All the money in the world, all the wealth, all the pleasure, whatever you want. And Moshe Rabbeinu was there, and he was safe. What does Moshe Rabbeinu do? The Torah tells us he knew he was Jewish. Moshe Rabbeinu leaves the palace, out of his comfort zone. He leaves the palace, and he wants to see how are my Jewish brothers and sisters, how they're doing right now, unfortunately, in slavery. He went out of his way. You know what it means to leave a comfort zone like a palace like Moshe Rabbeinu? And the Midrash goes on, when Moshe Rabbeinu left the palace, he wasn't just watching from above and just preaching to them. He actually went inside when he saw, for example, the Midrash says, when he saw Jewish slaves being pulled by metal bars around their necks, Moshe Rabbeinu will put his neck also under the bar and say, I want to be part of you, I'm also a Jew. And when he saw a Jew carrying a very, very heavy rock, Moshe Rabbeinu tried helping him out to make sure it's more comfortable for him. Moshe Rabbeinu put his life on the line, even though he left the palace, he was close to Paro, he put his life on the line to protect other Jews. Moshe Rabbeinu, says the Midrash, took his crown, put it on the floor, and said, I want to be with my Jewish brothers and sisters. I want to be with the Am. That's a tremendous lesson. Imagine a person has everything he needs. He made it all the way to the top of the culture of the community of the world. He's the wealthiest guy. He comes from a poor family. This guy made it all to the top. He forgets everyone around him. He forgets his community. He becomes a Baal Ga'ava. He has huge ego. He says, nah, these guys are lower classes. They're not my people. People can forget about where they come from. And more than that, people don't want to leave their comfort zone where they're so comfortable like Moshe Rabbeinu. But the Torah tells us Moshe Rabbeinu did the opposite. He left his nuchut, he left his comfort to go help out other Jews, to go be mishtatef, to take part of the tsar, of the pain of Klal Yisrael, Egypt at the time. Moshe Rabbeinu is a tremendous lesson. Our job as Yehudim, and I'm talking to myself, our job as Jews after what's going on after the war, and as we speak, it's still extremely dangerous, unfortunately. Our job as Yehudim is to leave the comfort zone for other Yehudim, for other Jewish people. Just because we don't live in Israel, just because we're not near Gaza, just because we're not IDF soldiers as we speak, does not mean we're not part of this war. We are 100% part of this war. And our job is to be like Moshe Rabbeinu. Leave the comfort zone, and I'm talking to myself, and take action for Amcha Bet Israel, for other Jewish brothers and sisters. You know what it means, Rabotai? Unfortunately, we can also get used to that. Every single day we wake up, another soldier died. 2 more soldiers died. Shnei chayalim, ot chayal, shnei chayalim, ot chayal. It becomes almost chas v'shalom like a routine. You hear shnei chayalim, we're nifter, okay, where's my cup of coffee? Yeah, let's go, where's the sugar? Chas v'shalom. It's such a sad situation. It's a constant avodah, it's constant work to tell ourselves, no. What does that mean a soldier died? You're talking about a wife and kids now left alone at home? You're talking about kids being raised without a father? You're talking about parents losing a child? They raise this kid since he's a baby, he's growing up, he's going to bar mitzvah, now he's finally going to high school, he finished high school, he goes to the army, then he dies? Well, what is that supposed to mean? You know how much sorrow that is, how much pain that is? One neshama of a Jew being lost like that, and it's again and again and again. That's a tremendous chuban. What is going on in the world? Hashem is literally trying to wake us up. Rabotai, we're losing Jewish people. We're losing Jewish people. Besides the crazy stories that happened on October 7th, how the Jews died. Like almost like behemot chas v'shalom, they're treated like animals in front of our face, and we're alive at such a time. Is that something that could just be ignored and move on life as usual, as if October 7th never happened? Did Hashem had to unfortunately take so much Jewish neshamot for people not to actually change from that? How can that be? HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants people to go me'al derech hateva, to leave your regular natural routine, to leave your comfort zone, and really take something upon yourself to get closer and closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And again, I'm talking to myself. The Rambam writes in Echot Taniyot. Please remember to go back to what I prepared, if you don't mind. I prepared to something else. The Rambam writes like this, Echot Taniyot. In the beginning, Halakha Aleph. He says, let's say you have one Jew that's being nirdaf bagoim, which means the goyim are chasing this Jew and they want to kill him. Says the Rambam, you can't just be mechalel Shabbat, you can't just break Shabbat whenever you want. There has to be halachot when you're allowed to break Shabbat. Obviously, pikuach nefesh, when you talk about life and death, if a Jew is almost dying chas v'shalom, you're allowed to break Shabbat for them. Says the Rambam, in other cases, where the Jew is 100% healthy, but he's in danger. What's the case that he's in danger? The goyim are chasing him to kill him. You're allowed to break Shabbat even for one Jew. Says the Rambam, one Jew, you're allowed to break Shabbat. One Jew. The Rambam goes on. A person, even on Shabbat, you're allowed to scream in prayer, which means on Shabbat, you're supposed to pray, but you're not allowed to cry. You can't even say refuah shalama, you should be healthy on Shabbat. Because Shabbat is the ultimate beracha, it gives shefa, it gives blessings. You can't even talk about refuah, you can't talk about sad stuff on Shabbat. But says the Rambam, when a person is being chased by goyim, aka hostages, even on Shabbat, scream, cry, and you're even allowed to blow the shofar on Shabbat. On Shabbat, you're allowed to blow the shofar, break Shabbat, scream to Hashem. A Jew is being chased by goyim. He's in constant danger every moment. Scream, cry, even on Shabbat. The holiest day of the week. The greatest gift that Hashem gave us is Shabbat. Scream and cry for another Jew. And the Rambam goes on. If chas v'shalom, a person decides to ignore a situation and says, Kachi derko shel olam, he says those words. He says, this is the ways of the world. People get killed. There's wars. There's politics. You know why October 7th happened? Because Joe Biden is president. If Trump would have been there, it never would have happened. That's against emunah. You know, if Bibi would have done this or this or that, that's not the way Yeresh Shamayim Baalei Emunah can talk. I have to work on that myself. If I had real emunah, no Bibi, no Trump, what are you talking about? HaKadosh Baruch Hu, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Says the Rambam, a person who says Kachi darko shel olam after such a tragedy and doesn't scream, do teshuvah, repent, take something upon yourself, even something small, daven to Hashem, say Tehillim, and the Rambam says a very, very harsh lashon. It's a little harsh, so I'm sorry, please excuse me. But if the Rambam said it, we'll let it publicize it. Says the Rambam, Arei u hachzar. A person who doesn't scream out when a Jew is hostage, is being chased by goyim, and he just says, this is the way of the world, I live my life, he lives his life, I'm not in Israel, let me do my thing, I have work, leave me alone, I can't focus on it, it's overwhelming. A person who doesn't scream at Hashem and pray, achzachas v'shalom, can be considered an achzal, which means cruelty. It's a little cruel. How can a person not scream out for another Jew? How can he not cry for the hostages as we speak? It is our responsibility to redeem them through prayer, through action. Who else is going to redeem them? The IDF? Wrong! HaKadosh Baruch Hu, tefillah, prayer, Torah. The shlichim, the messengers, the tzaddikim of the IDF soldiers, the tzaddikim, the righteous tzaddikim and the soldiers. And like my Rebbe told me in Lakewood, he told me he heard from the Rosh Yeshiva of the Mir at the time. His name was Chaim Shmulevitz, one of the greatest rabbis in the world at the time, from Mir, but then he moved to Eretz Yisrael, was Chaim Shmulevitz. And my Rebbe told me that he heard from him that every IDF soldier that passes away protecting the country, even if before that his whole life he didn't keep Shabbat, Unfortunately, etrefot, the guy was not shomer Torah mitzvot. If he passes away protecting the country, automatically goes to Ganeged Olam Haba b'makom she'tzadikim yoshvim. He goes automatically to Olam Haba, in a place where righteous people who live this world religious are right now in Olam Haba. If he dies protecting the country, it's tzaddik right away. Da'al kiddush Hashem. And this, I'm quoting you somebody from the biggest Roshei Shivot of the Mir. So it's pashut that the idea of soldiers at tzaddikim, they're full of emunah and yirat shamayim. Full of emunah yirat shamayim. They're really protecting us. But they're not the protectors. They're being protected. You know how? Through our tefillot, through our prayers, through everybody coming to learn Torah. That is the protection. And that's how we're going to be able to beat the war and release the hostages. So says the Rambam, tefillah. A person has to be lizok, to scream at HaKadosh Baruch Hu and pray to Hashem. Go out of the comfort zone like Moshe Rabbeinu and do something for Klal Yisrael. Give tzedakah, more tefillah. You're sitting in traffic, say Tehillim. You can go on Chacham YouTube, you put on Tehillim. You're at work, there's no customers, you're winning online. You say Tehillim, you learn in the Mishnah. Out of your comfort zone, out of the regular routine. We're going through really crazy times as we speak. And by the way, there's a midrash, very interesting midrash. We know, unfortunately, Yosef HaTzadik was thrown inside the bowl, inside the pit. And they really wanted to kill him, but Reuven saved him. The brother Reuven saved him. And he said, let's not kill him, let's just throw him inside the bowl. Says the midrash, Reuven, his brother, said, if I would know that my actions of saving Yosef is going to be recorded in the Torah for generations to come, not only I would have saved Yosef HaTzadik, my brother, and not kill him, I would have carried him on my shoulders and walked with him to my father Yaakov Avinu. Listen to those words of Reuven. If I would have known everything I do now makes a difference for generations to come and is being recorded for history and people are going to learn from me, I would have acted a little different, says Reuven. It's a midrash. I would have picked up Yosef and taken it to my father Yaakov and totally would have avoided the whole tragedy in the first place. Abatai, that's a tremendous lesson. Whatever we do now, whatever us, the Jewish nation, the way we react to what happened on October 7th, our children are going to ask us, you were Simchat Torah. You knew what was going on. What did you do for the war? And our grandchildren are going to tell us, Saba! Still remember, I asked my grandfather, Zichron Levacha, passed away this year, Yosef Bacha. He used to tell me all the stories of Milchemet Sheshet HaYamim, the 6-day war, the Yom Kippur war, this war, and he would tell me stories and stories of what he did, how he did this, how he did that. Our grandchildren are going to ask us and our children, what did you do when you went through the historic time after the Simchat Torah massacre? What did you do? What did you do? Did you make change? Did you grow? Did you daven extra? Did you help at Klal Yisrael? And whatever we do now, you have to understand it's not only happening as we speak. History is recording everything that we do. How did we react to the tragedy that's going on as we speak? Did we leave the comfort zone like Moshe Rabbeinu left his comfort zone? Was there leadership for the Jewish people? So Rabotai, showing up to a lecture is a tremendous Kiddush Hashem. Going to every comfort zone, it's very comfortable to be at home. Leaving the comfort zone and being matriach as me'al derech hateva, that already brings tremendous berecha to the world. And Bezrat Hashem, I'm not doing my speech, relax, but Bezrat Hashem, b'schut all the people going out of their way for the lecture, Hashem should give shefa and berecha to all the Jewish hostages to be free, Bezrat Hashem, and healthy this week, v'nomar amen. Okay, now to what I prepared for. That was only an introduction. So Reb Chaim Zaid said over a tremendous story, talking about Me'al Derech HaTeva. This is tremendous. He said like this, and I verified it with him more than once. Right after October 7th, one of his Talmidot, one of his students, her name was Tali. Tali from where the Yemenites live, what's it called? Beit Sha'an. Beit Sha'an, Eretz Yisrael, is a city where I got it right, Beit Sha'an, if Shekodet Tamanim Baruch Hashem. Beit Sha'an. Rosh Ha'ayin, Toda Rabba. Rosh Ha'ayin, Mechila. A lot of Tamanim Baruch Hashem. Okay. So Rosh Ha'ayin. She called him up, Tali. She told him, Kvod Harav, I want to be mishtatef in the war. I want to be mishtatef. I want to take something. I want to help out. He tells her, okay, what can you do already? She tells him, I have 12,000 shekel, 12,000 shekalim in my savings account. Now this girl lost her father, lost her mother. She's a yituma, total orphan. She had no parents. She's raised by the school that she's in the seminar. She has no money. But she saved in her bank account 12,000 shekel miskana from babysitting, working a little bit in the summer. 12,000 shekel. She tells the Rabbi Chaim Zaid on the phone, I want to give that money. I want to go buy a pair of tzitziot because I know the soldiers were missing tzitzit. And Rabbi, you take the tzitziot, go give it out in the south near Gaza. This is right after the war. He said, right after Simchat Torah. Rabbi Chaim Zaid told her, B'shum panim ba'ofen, no way. There's no way I'm taking your money. All you have is 12,000 shekel. You're a yetuma, you're an orphan. I'm not taking away your money. It's not happening. But she begged him, and the rabbi said that she started crying on the phone. Kvod Harav, I want to take part of this war. I want to help out. I want to be mishtatev. Noseh be'ol chavaro. Mamashak Moshe Rabbeinu. I want to go out of my comfort zone. I want to do something. He said, okay, if you're already crying, people start tearing, okay, that's already a whole different serious thing. Then he took her, no problem, he took the money. He took the 12,000 shekel, he told me, and he went and he bought 120 pairs of tzitziot, 120 pairs. He calls up the girl Tali, and he tells her, I have your box of tzitzit that's in my car, go take it. She tells him, Kvod Harav, ani no holechet leGaza, I'm not going to Gaza right after the war, atati lech leGaza, you go to Gaza. He tells her, why should I go to Gaza? And remember, this is right after it happened. The terrorists, Yimach Shem, were still roaming around. It took the idea for a couple of days to really get rid of them, to make it a little safer. He told her, I'm not going to Gaza. She tells him, Ken, atat tzaddik, ata olech leGaza. You're that tzaddik, you got to go to Gaza. Reb Chaim Zaid said, he was terrified. He wasn't sure, should I go, should I not go? He's like, you know what, I'll do the wife game. He went to his wife, and he told her, Ishti Ahuva, my beloved wife, you know, they want me to go to Gaza. Do you want to write a will at Seva'ah? Should we write at Seva'ah now, a will, just in case, you know, they want me to go to Gaza? She tells him, Gaza? Achshav? You're going to go to Gaza now doing the war? It just happened? He's like, Ken, do you let me go? She's like, Bishulma, why do you want to go? Tali, Kashala, Tali, the Yitoma, the orphan, she wants to go give it to the soldiers. Ken, Mesada, Tilech, Telechani, Mashalacha. So now he couldn't blame his wife either. He said, okay, now we got permission from his wife. He calls up his friend who works for the government a little bit, and he tells him, listen, I got to go to Gaza. It's dangerous. How do I do this? You got to help me out. He's like, Kvod Harav Zaid, al tidag, don't worry, I'm going to get you a katzin, a soldier, that's going to come with the army truck, bulletproof. He said, not fully bulletproof, whatever that means, but it's bulletproof. The army truck came and picked him up. He put the tzitziot, the boxes, inside the car. And he said the drive to the south, and he said that summit, the cordon that it was, I forgot already what it was, but he told me the details, I sure wrote it down. Certain summit near Gaza, but they went to the south. Suddenly, they hear in the microphones, all cars stop, do not leave your cars. Lo latzet ma'shat chirum, it's an emergency, do not leave your car. What happened? They caught a group of 4 terrorists, Yimach Shemam v'zicham, 4 terrorists. 3 are still in custody, 1 ran away. One Arab, Yimach Shemam, was able to run away. He's somewhere in the area, it's not secure. Everybody stay in the car. He says for an hour and a half he was in the car. An hour and a half. And he said he saw the klavim, the dogs, trying to sniff the terrorists. He saw khalfanim, what's it called, those flying stuff? Drones going around. And they were looking and looking and looking. After an hour and a half, they said, okay, it's safe. The terrorist is not here. It can't be that he's here. We searched the area. He must have ran away more south. But now this location over here is safe. You ought to go out. The general of the group of the battalion of soldiers there told Chaim Zaid, you have approximately 10 minutes to give it the tzitziot to the soldiers. He gets out of the car. He starts giving out the tzitziot. And by the way, he said that he sang a song with them. And Rav David Abuchatzera told him that if you sing this song, it brings shefa and beracha to the people that you're singing it to. So since I heard that, I started singing it with my wife and kids. It's beautiful. He says, but when you sing this song, Rav David Abuchatzera told him this. Al Pi Kabbalani, and he has it from the Abil Yaakov, the Heilige Mikubal. Told him when you say these words and you sing it, it brings beracha to the people. You guys are curious what the song is, or you're not curious? Yes? But only if you sing it with me, I'm going to sing it. Hoshia et amecha uvarech et nachlasecha urem 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 venasem venasem ad olam Hoshia et amecha uvarech et nachlasecha Urem, 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 venasem ad olam Hoshia es amecha uvarech et nachlasecha Ure, mure, 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 venase, mure, venase, madolam. He started singing with the soldiers. And then he started giving out tzitziot. He's giving out tzitziot, giving. Kvod harav, the guy's making beracha, shechianu. He said, suddenly the guy pulled out tefillin. Oh, tefillin, balagan. He said, then he had one pair of tzitzit left. And a soldier that was a little further from him said, Kvod harav, please throw it to me. Reb Chaim Zaid said that he chucked the pair of tzitzit. Now a wind came, but this is a true story, 2024. True story. He threw the tzitzit, and a wind came. And the soldier missed grabbing the tzitzit. The tzitzit falls on a sela, falls on a rock. As it falls in the rock, you see a Yemach Shemonik, a terrorist getting up, going, They saw the mechaber, the terrorist they were looking for, was under the rock. The tzitzit fell on him. I guess it tickled his ear. The tzitziot or something. It sounded like some drone is on him. He didn't know what was going on. He was hiding under the rock. He gets up. The soldier screams, Ash, Ash! Boom, 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 boom! They killed the terrorist on the spot. That means that pair of tzitzit fell on the sela, and the terror was hiding under. Can you imagine an Arab dying with tzitzit? I guess he has some schut avot. I don't know. He has something, this Arab. He gets up, and they saw him, boom! Killed him on the spot. The general told Reb Chaim Zaid, and I want to tell you, there's no question that pair of tzitzit saved lives. There's no question. Because we didn't find the terrorist. And if he would have gotten away, he would have got up out of nowhere, he would have killed at least a few soldiers, chas v'shalom. So that pair of tzitzit saved many lives, and he took selfies with the rabbis, they have videos of it, it's unbelievable. But the story doesn't end there. A couple of weeks afterwards, and I also said this story in English on Torah Anytime. A couple of weeks afterwards, he gets a call from a guy from Miami Beach. His name is David Weingeber or something. Nice fellow. He calls up Reb Chaim Zaid and tells him, Kvod harav, because he has an English accent, Kvod harav. Tell me the Anglit, do you talk English? Tells him, I don't talk Anglit, I don't kesef, I don't money. I'm joking. He said, no, I don't talk English. They started speaking broken Hebrew. He's like, I saw the story about the pair of tzitzit, but I want to tell you, I'm not impressed that a pair of tzitzit can save lives. What I am impressed is this girl, Tali. This girl, she's an orphan. No father, no mother. She goes out of her way to give her savings for the war to buy tzitzit. This is a powerful girl. She's a powerful woman. Please tell her, I'm her new father. When she gets married, the wedding is on me. Furniture is on me. And a free apartment in Bayit Vagan in Yerushalayim when she gets married. Oh, Bayit Vagan, how much? Millions of dollars. No, how much? How much is a Bayit Vagan apartment there? At least $1 million, no, something like that. Free apartment in Bayit Vagan. Chaim Zaid was shocked. Why was he shocked? 4 years back, he took this orphan girl, Tali, to the Gdol Ador, Reb Chaim Kanievsky, Zecher Tzidid V'Kadosh Avracha. And he told Reb Chaim Kanievsky, Kvod harav, bli abba, bli ima, no father, no mother. She wants to get married. She's an oldest single girl. How are we going to help her out? Reb Chaim Kanievsky told her, don't worry. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he's the father of all orphans. Don't worry, he's going to take care of her. And he also threw in the milah, which is unusual for Reb Chaim Kanievsky to say that. He also threw in the milah kesef. She's also going to have money. 4 years later, Rabbatai, go forward, 4 years later. This guy from Miami Beach calls up, I'm going to pay for her wedding, her furniture. She's going to have an apartment in Bayit Vagan. And by the way, she's engaged. And Reb Chaim Zaid said that he met the guy from Miami Beach and he gave him an open checkbook and he said, I trust you. Whatever furniture they need, whatever they need, everything is on me on the house. This is a girl, Rabotai, from Rosh Ha'ain, who went out of her way, out of her comfort zone on her level, for Klal Yisrael like Moshe Rabbeinu, out of your comfort zone for another Jew. Look how much change and beracha and blessing she brought to the world. Look how many lives she saved. And more than that, she herself now got engaged and is getting married. When a person goes me'al derech hateva and makes wonders in the world, it changes everything in the world. It brings beracha and shefa to the world. Another story that he told me, this is a powerful story. He gave me the mother of this who said over the story, but I couldn't call her yet. So I'm quoting Reb Chaim Zaid, who told me the details. He said, right now he goes to Gaza almost every week to visit the soldiers and give them chizuk, the tzaddikim over there. He says in one of the places that he went to, one of the chayyim told Kvod harav, bola tank, come and send the tank. Okay, he said he went inside the tank, he goes in, he sees pictures over there. He said of Chacham Ovadia, Baba Sali, Enon Milvado, Hashem Elokim, The soldiers at tzaddikim, mamash righteous people, tzaddikim, ba'alei emunah, full of emunah. The country changed a little bit. It really changed. The soldiers, everybody, are more and more ba'alei emunah. It's an unbelievable thing, the kiddushim, what's going on. So he went inside the tank, and then one of the soldiers told him, Kvod Harav, I know you have a lot of stories, but this one is going to shock you. And if you don't believe me, call my mother from Rishon LeZion. What happened? His parents are not shomer Torah mitzvot yet. Okay? They're not religious yet. But after their son went to the war right now in Gaza, the mother and the father said, we got to do something. We got to do something for our son to be safe. Ma'asim, we need action. Got to go out of the comfort zone. So they asked the rabbi told us the greatest beracha is Shabbat. Keeping Shabbat is the greatest beracha. But they told him, Kvod Harav, we can't keep the whole Shabbat. We love the TV and all that. We can't keep the whole Shabbat. What we could do, after the husband and wife discuss it, is we could keep 3 hours out of the Shabbat. 3 hours. Okay. They asked the rabbi, which 3 hours should we keep? Friday night, Shabbat day, Sudash Shlishi time. Which 3 hours should we keep? The rabbi said, Rabbi Yitzchak Zilberstein, he told them, Vadai, Shishi Balayla, Yom Shishi Balayla, Friday night, as soon as the rest of Klal Yisrael is keeping Shabbat at that time, Adlakat Nerot, first 3 hours you keep Shabbat, after 3 hours, Amavdi B'Kodesh L'chol, yalla, your Shabbat is over. So that's what they did. They took upon themselves 3 hours. Now 3 hours is not easy. I grew up, before I became religious in 6th grade, and I remember growing up as a Chiloni in Eretz Yisrael. It's not easy to start keeping Shabbat. It's really, really, really not easy. I respect all those that do it. It's really not easy. It's the greatest life in the world. It's the funnest thing is to keep Shabbat, but it's not easy to make that change. So the first 3 hours, that's what the family took upon themselves, that couple. Listen to what happens. In one of the weeks during the war, during the first 3 hours of Friday night, the husband tells the wife, back in Rishon LeZion, and while their son is in Gaza, the husband tells the wife, תדליק את הטלוויזיה, turn on the TV, בוא נראה מה קורה בעזה, what's going on over there? She tells them, we said the first 3 hours, no television, we're not turning the TV. Tells them, בוא נראה, זה דרבנן, בוא נראה. Tells her, no, first 3 hours. And they were arguing it out, and she convinced her husband, Baruch Hashem, we're not turning on the TV. Motzei Shabbat, Rabotai, the news came out, because they don't release right away who passes away. Motzei Shabbat they released, Hutali Pirsum as they say, unfortunately, that there was one tank that was ambushed and bombed with RPG, whatever it's called. And unfortunately, a big group out of the tank passed away. Their son, who was inside that tank, miraculously, Rabatai, Nes Gadol Haya Po in our times, their son survived and is 100% alive. And at what time did that attack happen? What time? Friday night, during those 3 hours, Rabatai, they started keeping Shabbat. The first 3 hours of Friday of Shabbat that happened in Gaza. Do you hear this, Rabotai? This is unbelievable. The power of mitzvot, the power of Shabbat, the power of praying to Hashem. The Yetzer Hara is the best at minimizing how much we make a difference when we do one mitzvah. He's the best businessman. He knows how to take junk and make believe as if it's the best thing in the world. Oh, this is the best product in the world. And the guy lies to you. And then he knows how to be the best politician, the businessman the other way. He takes the best product of the world and tells you as if it's nothing. So you said Birkat Hamazon after you ate bread. So what? So you put on tefillin today. So what? There's millions of other Jews doing the same exact thing. So you kept Shabbat once or just Friday night. So what? Do you really think you made a difference? The Yetzer Hara takes valuable, expensive things like mitzvot and minimizes it as if it's nothing. But then he takes ta'avot olam hazeh, he takes desires. Oh, you know what it means to go to Mexico for vacation? Wow, you're missing out. You know what it means? You haven't eaten in the restaurant in the city that opened up, $700. You know where you're missing out? He's selling you nothing. What's food? What's vacation? Big deal. But mitzvot, who cares? Tefillin, Shabbat. That's what the Yetzer Hara does. He's an unbelievable businessman. And we need to be careful. I'm talking to myself, not to be fooled. Not to live through life, chas v'shalom, being fooled. You know, I once met a person in New Jersey. He has a business, a wealthy person, very special person. Gives a lot of tzedakah, has a good heart. He has a business. millionaire. So one time I went to meet him to fundraise for something. He tells me, Yaakov, let me show you what I do, because when I met him in his office, it was just like a junkyard, and his offices was just like a shed. I don't know, just an old place. It didn't make any sense to me. Usually when I meet the rich guys, it's in the city. They have, this is different, in New Jersey. He's like, let me show you what I do. He takes me to one of his huge crates that he has in the back, and he opens it up. And I see broken fans, used printers, different second-hand stuff. And he tells me, you know what my business is? Like, what's your business? A lot of companies don't have room and space, and they don't have the patience to keep a little broken items in their factories and their stores and their warehouses. It still works, but it's not 100% good. They don't want it. They don't want to deal with it. So they're looking to give it out. My business is to work and take those secondhand stuff, bring it to me, and then I sell it on eBay. You know how many people want to buy secondhand stuff? Millions of people want to buy secondhand stuff. So I get it for free or for a cheaper price, and then I go sell it on eBay and I make money. And I looked at all the junk that was in his crate. It's unbelievable. And I told him, you taught me a tremendous lesson for life. Tremendous lesson for life. You take junk and you turn it into zahav, into gold. You take in junk and you turn it into millions. Our job in life, Rabotai, is every time tests come our way, nisyonot come our way, our job is to take those tests and turn it around, overcome the test, and get olam haba, and get rewarded by olam hazeh and the next world for overcoming the test that Hashem throws on us. Our job is to take the test and turn it into gold, turn it into loyalty to Hashem, overcoming nisyonot. You enter your house, and you're about to get angry because the house is not as well as you thought it would be when you enter the house. So that person is about to be bika'as, angry, and he or she controls herself. You just turned junk into gold. You're going to get rewarded for that. You brought beracha, you brought blessings to the world. You know, I once heard from Chacham Avad Yosef. You've got to remind me to go back, guys, to what I prepared here. We're going to be here till Shavuot. Halot Shachov here. Chacham Avad said over like this. He said, why is it that a person gets angry specifically with his family in his house? It's a tremendous lesson. He says, imagine you will go to your friend's house and you see him with his kids and his wife. And his kids and his wife, the house is messy, the kids are jumping at him. And you don't get as mad when his kids, when your friend's kids in his house and his wife do the same exact thing, but when it's your kids doing the same exact thing in your house, you get upset. Your friend's kids did the same exact thing as your kids in your house. In your house, you get upset for the same exact actions. And in your friend's house, you did not get upset as his children and his wife. Why not? What's the difference? The answer is, one is your family, the other one is not your family. Meaning, says Chacham Ovadia, one you think you have control of and it's yours. And the other one, you know, to let go. It's my friend's family. Let go. Let go. It's not, it's not sheli, like I can control them. You gotta let go. Says Chacham Ovadia, a person has to understand. Emunah, Yirat Shamayim, all these things mean that Hashem controls everything. The more you learn to let go of situations, the more you recognize that you're not in control of all the surroundings, the less you're going to be bikas. Because the reason why a person gets angry is because he or she thinks it's supposed to be this way, because in my mind it's supposed to be this way. But if you know you're not in charge, you know that you don't own everything, then you don't get angry, just like you don't get angry when you go to your friend's house and the kids do the same exact thing. How did I get to this? I have no clue. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'akol niyeh b'dvaro. Okay, so let me quote you a few things that I prepared, Rabotai. I apologize. Says the Avnei Nezer. This is unbelievable. Okay, listen carefully, because this is homework for me and every single one of us. Kol Yehudi, every single Jew, Yachol le'oshia et chavero, can bring salvation to his friend, betfilato, through prayer, v'lechalatzo, and to redeem him and free him, memetzukato, from the tragedy he's going through. You hear this? Kol Yehudi. Aval, however, zot betnai, it's in condition, shetzarato shel re'eu, his friend's pain, tigalo ba'omek nikudat levavo, it really hurts your heart inside. Ve'az bevadai, then for sure and for sure, titkaber tefilato lifnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Hashem would definitely listen to your tefillot. Avnei Nezer, one of the main commentaries that we have. Every single Jew has the power. And tonight when you go home, close your eyes and think about this. Tonight you're becoming Chacham Ovadia. Every single one of us has the ability to be Moshiach, our Jews, our brothers and sisters, the hostages, davening for the Chayalim. If it were really hurt every single one of our hearts, which it does, because you see the reaction of Klal Yisrael. Everybody is moved and everybody changed for the better after the war. Says the Avnei Nezer, when a person davens, me'omek libo, he really davens like Kadosh Baruch Hu. And it really bothers him that all the Jews in pain. Bevadai, HaKadosh Baruch Hu listens to the tefillot. And he goes on. And he says, Litpalel chaverecha, to daven for your friend. Enot tzarich liot rabbi. You don't have to be the Rebbe, the Edmor or the Rebbe. Or we will add, or Chacham Ovadia. Ela gam yedido, you could be a friend shel Adam. Yachol lipol b'shamayim, im yitzta'er al chavero v'yikav et ka'avo. It has to pain you. שלכן באמת בדרך כלל כל יהודי שמתפלל עם כאב הקדוש ברוך הוא שומע לתפילותיו. Hashem listens to the prayers of a Jew that his heart really hurts him, that another Jew is in pain. This is a tremendous thing. You don't need to be a Rebbe to daven for the hostages. You don't need to be the Gdol Adol to daven for the soldiers, for the tzaddikim, the idea of soldiers. You need to be a person that cares for all the Jews and understand the power that you have. You make a difference when you daven. When you pray and you say Tehillim in the car, at work, in shul, in your kitchen, you make a difference. And do not let the Yetzer Hara fool you and lie to you that you don't make a difference. Don't let them minimize the power of Tehillim, the power of praying for one for another. The Achronim tell us we have the power to redeem people from their tzarot. We can redeem them from their pain. We have to keep on davening, but at the same time, you have to understand you make a difference. You bring value to the Jewish world. Hashem wants to hear your tefillot and your prayer. And he goes on. We know in Mitzrayim the Gezerah was that the Jewish people were supposed to be in Egypt for 400 years to be slaves. But it got reduced for many reasons. We're going to say one reason. It got reduced to 210 years. Says the Avnei Nezer, how do we go from 400 years of slavery decreed by Hashem in Egypt to 210 years? He says, you know why? Because in Mitzrayim, in Egypt, Klal Yisrael had achdut, kartu chesed zeim zeh. They made like a declaration, like a treaty. They were always going to take care of each other. The Jews in Mitzrayim did that. Even though they were going through a hard time, they always had each other's backs no matter what. Says the Avnei Nezer, when one Jew was in pain, the other Jew that was watching his friend in pain was also in tremendous pain. So what happens is, when one Jew is in pain, let's say 100 Jews are in pain, because his friend cares about him so much, it's as if 200 Jews are in pain. So even though we're supposed to have exile for 400 years in Egypt, but because all the Jews were in pain together for each other, and they always felt each other's tzal, everything got reduced into half. Into 200 years. It's as if they already did 400 years of quality pain, so it got reduced in time to 200 years. When we, Rabotai, when we give a sigh, let's say we hear the news, should never happen again, but let's say the news that happened, that a chayal passed away. Those 2-3 seconds make a difference of the reaction. If a person says, "Ay," you already made a difference. When you show tzar, when you show ke'ev, you already reduced the decree for the whole Klal Yisrael. When a person cries, can you imagine how much decrees, how much gzerot it reduces? But the ke'ev, the pain has to be real. The pain has to be real. And when a person is pain, the other Jews are going through suffering, it will bring berechat to the world. It will bring shefa. It reduces the pain and the gzerot in the world. You know what it means, Rabotai, for everyone to show up to a lecture, for a Dvar Torah? The tircha, going out of where, going to the comfort zone, reduces, and I'm not saying it to exaggerate as a speaker, I mean this 100%. It really reduces the gzerot in the world. The issue is that sometimes we underestimate how much of a difference we make. Does anybody here know how much Shabbatot they kept in their lives? I don't. Does anybody know how many times they put on tefillin in their lives? I don't. I mean, I can count, but I don't. Imagine you take a notebook, and this is my Rebbeinu told me to do when I was younger. You take a notebook and you start counting how many mitzvot you do a week. Start counting how many mitzvot you do in 1 week. B'cha when you leave the bathroom, bo'en nefashot she'akol, tefillin, chesed, complimenting others. how much mitzvot you did in 1 week. You know how wealthy you are in mitzvot? But what does the Yetzer Hara do? Minimizes it. Who cares? Person has to value how much you already accomplished, how much you make a difference. Just like Bibi Netanyahu makes a difference, just like Joe Biden makes a difference, Lehavdil Elef Avdalot, every single one of us makes a difference. The way we react, the way we pray, the way we care makes a difference in the war as we speak live, breaking news as we speak. A person is about to speak Lashon Hara and he controls himself. Whoa! Who knows how much beracha he brought to the world? A person is about, let's say, to say Birkat Hamazon fast, but he says it a little slower for the soldiers. Wow, how much beracha you brought. Or let's say a person doesn't keep Shabbat yet, but they start lighting candles for Shabbat. Or they come Friday night to shul, just to shul Friday night to leave their comfort zone on their level. Do you know how much beracha and blessings you brought to the soldiers and the hostages as we speak? You make a huge difference, and don't underestimate the power that you have. Every single one of us, Rabotai, can bring and are bringing the Yeshua, the salvation to Klal Yisrael. And I want to end up with this. Even though I prepare a lot more, but I still have to drive to Lakewood. I want to end up with this. And just to show you how much I care, Rabotai, I went to a Judaica store before I came here, just to bring this book to show you as an example, because I left mine at home, so I have to go rebuy it. So you guys owe me another like $26 now, this thing. So basically, the Chafetz Chaim brings down in Sefer Shmirat HaLashon, when there is no Lashon Hara, and I know Lashon Hara topic is probably coming out of the ears already, just like my ears. But how many people really don't speak Lashon Hara? I mean, how many people really do not speak? I had one friend like that in yeshiva. Really never spoke Lashon Hara. This guy is crazy tzaddik. Really never spoke really went out of his way not to speak Lashon Hara. But how many people really don't speak Lashon Hara? And I'm talking to myself. The Chafetz Chaim brings down, unfortunately, when there's Lashon Hara in the air, just like we learned by COVID can spread all over the place. How much more so Lashon Hara can spread all over the place? When one speaks Lashon Hara, it damages the world. It damages the world. And Chas v'Shalom should never happen, because we can bring Chas v'Shalom tragedies. He quotes it all the time, the Chafetz Chaim, from the Zohar Kadosh. This is serious stuff. Says the Chafetz Chaim, even if you have Jews that are not religious yet, but there's no Lashon Hara, there could be Oved Avodah Zarah, idol worshippers. But there's no Lashon Hara, there's Achdut, they have the ultimate protection. But if they're not of the Avodah Zarah, but they have Lashon Hara, they really talk negative about each other again and again and again and again, non-stop. Then Hashem says, okay, you're on your own. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, but you're on your own. And when Hashem says you're on your own, that's scary stuff, because we always have Ze'evim, wolves that are ready, unfortunately, to kill us all day. Yimach Shemam v'zicham. So Lashon Hara is the ultimate protection. So a couple of months ago, I'm on a mission, if you don't mind. My mission is to spread learning this book, Chafetz Chaim, the Daily Companion, as much as possible. To get people to learn as much as possible. Me and my wife learn it, and by the way, it also brings tremendous shalom bayit for couples. You want to start learning with your wife or with the husband? This is a great book, Daily Companion. It goes through every single day, different topics of Lashon Hara. I think it's 176 days around. Then afterwards you make a siyum, but it will teach you, it will make you, because nobody wants to speak Lashon Hara. No Jew wants to speak Lashon Hara, but a Jew forgets. How do you remind yourself constantly? You learn it every single day consistently. And many people started learning this, and it brought them tremendous beracha to the world. I just got off the phone with a girl from Florida last week. And this is one of hundreds of stories, by the way. If you go on Torah anytime, you put in Rav Chetzkel Menashe. He has right now over 500 stories, already in Lakewood. Over 500 right now, and he's on the phone with me all the time with stories of people that started learning this book, and they have real Yeshua, real salvations and everything. The most recent, and I spoke to this girl, the most recent girl from Florida. Unfortunately, her mother, had the machala. Never happened to any person, only on Hamas. She had the machala. And it was very, very scary. But they heard the recording of Cheskel Menashe, learning this book. And as a family, they have a conference on the phone together. The family learned it together every single night. This book, the Daily Companion. And Baruch Hashem, Ad 120 Shana, the mother should be 100% healthy. They just got back the results in Florida, and she's 100% healthy. This is a brand new story. She should be healthy at 120 Shana. Or how about a couple in Lakewood? Then they have kids for 10 years. You know what it means not to be married, to have kids? It's tremendous tza'al. It's tremendous pain. Tremendous pain. They went to Reb Cheskel Menashe, and the rabbi told them, learn this together. When you reduce a shon hara, the bracha comes, the blessing comes. This happened in Lakewood. They started learning, and Baruch Hashem, after the story happened, they already have 2 kids, hopefully many more, B'ezrat Hashem. There's tons of stories. How about a couple that also couldn't have any kids? 4 years. Also a lot, but 4 years. They started learning it January 1st of last year. That means they had a baby by now, but January 1st of last year. After 40 days of starting to learn this, he told Reb Cheskel Menashe, after 40 days, Baruch Hashem, the wife was already due. She knew that she was due, and Baruch Hashem, her due date was supposed to be January or February, something like that. I have the date written down. More than 500 stories, Abatai. And I'm making a long story short. I could tell you tons of stories of people that started learning this book. How much time does it take a day? 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day. But it will remind you not to speak Lashon Hara. So if a person is looking to take something upon themselves when it comes to Limuda Torah, try to think and consider. Start learning this book every single day. The Chafetz Chaim Daily Companion. You go on artschool.com or Google this. It's $20. It gets shipped to your house, but it will change your life. It's $20 that we're being beracha and shefa. I spoke about this in Queens in the summer, in the Chazak organization, on Tisha B'Av. Since then, when I go to Queens, more than once, I had people that came over to me and they told me, Rabbi, we heard your speech about the Chafetz Chaim, we took it seriously, and we already see improvement in our lives. We already see beracha, blessings with a son with Shlom Bayit. There was one couple that came over to me, they had a son that unfortunately was dating a Goya, and they heard the lecture, and they started learning Chafetz Chaim Shmirat HaLashon. That's what they did, okay? Le'at, the son, slowly but the son started coming back to Shabbat, and I started convincing him, and they told me that it's already in the works, he's already breaking up with his girlfriend, the Goya. Just from starting to learn the Chafetz Chaim every single day. There are many stories. So try to take upon yourself for the hostages, for the soldiers, to start learning Yechot Lashon Hara every single day, 2 minutes a day, 3 minutes a day, this book, other Chafetz Chaim books. And understand that you don't underestimate the actions that you do, the mitzvot. Coming here tonight brings tremendous shefa to the world. Every time you say Tehillim makes a tremendous difference. And it should never happen again. But if a person hears the news, don't just go to the next thing. Actually have ke'ev, tsar. Hashem, another Jew died. Ay, bring the Yeshua. That ke'ev, the mishtatef, the fact that you're taking part with the pain already brings beracha to the world. And don't underestimate that. Thank you so much for coming. Be'ezrat Hashem, b'zchut the Torah here tonight, b'zchut all the tzaddikim that came here, Klal Yisrael should have a Yeshua. All the soldiers, the idea of soldiers, the chayalet tzahal, the tzaddikim should be healthy at 120 shana. They all should all get married, have children and grandchildren, B'ezrat Hashem. And all the hostages should be 100% free, and we should all dance with B'ezrat Hashem with Mashiach. Thank you so much for coming.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.